The release you've been waiting for is here. The 11624 power paddles are finally available, and trust me, it was worth the wait. So without further ado, let's dig straight into it. These new 11624 power paddles are one of the most hyped releases so far of 2025. These new Gen 3 foam enhanced paddles come in at a price of $169.99, and if you want to save some money, you can use my code STSPickleball to take $10 off, making the price just $159.99. Keep in mind, my discount code works on just about every single pickleball website in the space, so there is no bias going into this review whatsoever. So let's break down these new paddles. They have an 8mm core cell size, meaning that the individual cells of the polypropylene core are 8mm in diameter. Larger means more power, like a Paddletech Bantam paddle, which comes in at a 10mm cell size. So 8mm I would consider to be average. These new power paddles from 11624 are utilizing one singular ring of closed cell foam around the perimeter of the core of the paddle. A rather thick piece of foam as well, which must be where the additional power is coming from. Instead of utilizing two pieces of foam around the perimeter like most Gen 3 paddles are doing, which is unique for sure. The closed cell foam is more like a yoga mat, whereas open cell foam is more like styrofoam, kind of squishy and pliable. Closed cell foam is much denser and therefore much more durable. And in play, I have noticed that over time, thus far, there really isn't much break-in to speak of, and this is due to the closed cell foam holding its integrity and not allowing the core to essentially break over time. Can these be core crushed? I'm sure that they can, although I haven't heard of anyone doing this, and 11624 did put these paddles through over 5,000 very hard hits into a stationary pickleball on a machine in China with no delamination or crushed cores to speak of, but of course, time will ultimately tell. Initially, we were told these were a triple carbon fiber face layup, but in fact, these are a CFC layup, meaning carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber. This is relevant due to the fact that adding fiberglass does tend to add more power and pop to a paddle. At first, I was confused when they said it was all carbon fiber because it felt like there was a layer of fiberglass in the layup, and sure enough, there is. And so if you don't know much about face layup, essentially what companies do is they lay sheets of the face material over the top of each other to give the paddle a different feeling off the face. This layup of carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber has been one of the most popular combinations, and for good reason. You get that traditional feeling of raw carbon fiber with the added dwell time it offers, along with the rigidity and the pop and power that fiberglass offers. Fiberglass tends to be less durable than carbon fiber, so when you sandwich it between two layers of raw carbon fiber, you are getting the pop and the power benefits of the fiberglass without sacrificing durability, which is really cool. These paddles are USAP approved and have also passed PB Core, so they are 100% fully approved for sanctioned tournament play. Okay, let's dive into the metrics. First up, we have the Pegasus, which is the wide body option, coming in with a swing weight of 112.1 and a twist weight of 7.59, which is a huge twist weight. Very nice to see. Twist weight again is the stability of the paddle on off-center hits. Higher twist weight will yield more stability, and lower twist weight will yield less stability on off-center hits. Raising the twist weight will help the sweet spot and also yield more consistent shots on the court. Alternatively, a higher swing weight will make the paddle feel heavier, the same way a hammer feels, and a lower swing weight will mean less weight distributed towards the head of the paddle and thus will feel lighter in your hand when using the paddle. Next up, we have the Vapor, which is the new hybrid shape introduced recently by 11624, coming in with a swing weight of 115.4 and a twist weight of 7 flat. Make sure to pause the video or take a screenshot of the rest of the specs if you'd like. And lastly, we have the Huarache X, which is 11624's elongated shape, coming in with a swing weight of 114.7 and a twist weight of 6.25, which is above average for an elongated shape. The swing weights of these paddles are low enough to allow for the use of added weight, which is nice because when a paddle has too high of a stock swing weight, adding more weight makes it feel even heavier, which can be taxing on your wrist and your elbow. So these numbers are really quite solid. Okay, so let's talk about spin before we get into power and control. Spin-wise, the Pegasus wide body comes in at 2,298 RPM, the Vapor Hybrid comes in at 2,365 RPM, and the Huarache X elongated shape comes in at 2,315 RPM. The spin you get with these paddles is in the highest percentile in my database. These paddles are absolutely ripping spin. This is due to a combination of dwell time from the new closed cell foam around the perimeter of the core and the grit on the face of these paddles. Lastly, given the weave and the texture on the face, they're getting really good friction on the ball. So these are firing on all cylinders for spin. I noticed not only do these paddles get really solid spin on drives and serves, but I was keeping balls in on speed ups that normally would have gone a bit long. And I was standing there thinking, wow, that was pretty impressive. I really thought that was going to go out. So power-wise, these new 11624 power paddles aren't topping the charts like some of the other Gen 3 paddles available, but the nice thing is that these have already passed PB Core, which is the coefficient of restitution test that measures if a paddle is too powerful. This is important because given the fact that these don't change much while breaking them in, these are extremely unlikely to get banned in the future due to power specifically. So that should give you some peace of mind given all the drama around power paddles these days. So the Pegasus Widebody comes in at an 8.7 out of 10 for power and an 8.8 for pop. The Vapor Hybrid comes in at a 9.1 for power and an 8.6 for pop. And the Huarache X Elongated Paddle comes in at a 9.2 for power and an 8.5 for pop. I would say anything over a 9.5 is just insanity power. So these numbers all come in right at the middle to bottom area of the power spectrum these days. So let's break this down a little bit further. So we have control paddles, which are soft and plush. We have all-core paddles, which are the middle ground between power and control. And we have power paddles, which pack a punch but lack control. These are the closest paddles I have ever used to having a perfect blend of power and control. They have just enough power, but still have huge sweet spots and solid control. Now, don't get me wrong, there is always a trade-off. When you have more power, you simply just have less control. But these make up some ground in the control category due to these aspects. I honestly never found myself wanting more power. I had plenty for putaways and aggressive drives, solid pop for hand battles, even though these have generally less pop than other power paddles. So put simply, these have above average power and pop in comparison to their competition in the space. Okay, so let's talk about the sweet spot. These have some of the best sweet spots per shape of any paddle in the space. This new closed cell foam around the perimeter of the core is the reason behind this. The Pegasus Widebody comes in at a 9.5 out of 10, the Vapor comes in at a 9.4, and the Huarache X comes in at an 8.9 out of 10. These are top percentile scores per shape, and you can definitely feel it in play. My personal favorite of the bunch is the Vapor. It just has a huge sweet spot for a hybrid battle. Zero complaints in the sweet spot category though overall. No real dead spots to speak of, just really solid. Lastly, let's talk about control scores. The Pegasus Widebody comes in at a 9.3 out of 10, the Vapor Hybrid comes in at a 9.1, and the Huarache X Elongated comes in at an 8.7. I had to give them a touch higher scores given the power and pop they have, due to the fact that they have a plush feeling off the face, they have massive sweet spots, and top percentile spin numbers. Drops, resets, and mid-court transition with these feel so much better than just about any other power paddle on the market, especially the Pegasus and the Vapor. The Huarache is certainly harder to control given the tighter sweet spot. It has a more rigid feeling off the face in comparison to the Pegasus and the Vapor as well. The Vapor and the Pegasus have a really nice plush feeling off the face. I have to say I am really impressed with the Vapor overall. If I had to choose one of these three paddles to go to a tournament tomorrow, I would definitely go with the Vapor. The new shape design of the Vapor is such a unique design and really works in play. Huge sweet spot, great power and pop, top tier spin, and pretty darn solid control overall. So that's the review for the very hyped 11624 power paddles. If you have any questions or want to chat about paddles, leave a comment down below. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.